Live?
Yes, live.
That's you,
Oh,
right?
yep, there I am. It's live.
Welcome, everybody.
I was like, you're wearing that.
This is the Board of Selectmen regular meeting on Wednesday, February 7th, 2018. The meeting is being shown live on Channel 9 right now, and it's also being recorded and will be shown throughout the week on Channel 9. If anybody's going to record any part of this, just let me know. Not a problem, just let me know. Okay? Okay, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman, while we're all standing, I would like to mention the passing of Everett Pacheco, longtime resident of Dayton, brother of Joe Pacheco, our Title V and ZBA member for many years. Everett was one of the first people I met when I came to town. So in his memory, I would request a moment of silence, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
We were going to appoint some police officers, but that's going to be done next week, so we'll pass by that. And we have Owen Conti back to give us his final update on his Eagle Scout project.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we table until the next meeting the appointment of 3 full-time patrolmen.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, now listen to what you have to say.
I'll have to look at all the badges.
All right, so I'm here to give my final update on my project and to seek your approval and signature. So I just want to run through what I have completed for everybody. So first and foremost, I have all of the data right here in this packet, and it's electronic also. There's something like 412 veterans collected with all their information. It has their last name, first name, their rank, if there was given, birth date, date of death, age, and then the exact GPS coordinate of each one. So I'm going to give this to Mr. Hershey. And then I also have a printed map. I had several maps printed of...
Is that all veterans, for all veterans, or is that just the ones you could have time to finish?
That's all of them in that cemetery.
All, okay.
Yeah. So
Good.
there's bigger ones and this. Real close.
Nice.
There's all those red points. Right? They each have a number that corresponds to
Yep.
the number on the
Yep.
spreadsheet there.
Mhm.
So I've given a bunch of these maps to Mr. Hershey.
Why don't you turn around, and show
Oh,
it
turn,
to...
it's upside down.
Yeah.
Reverse it. Yeah, just swing it around so the camera can pick it up. That's the community church cemetery, right?
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Yeah, right.
All this information is going to be put on the town website, so it'll be it'll be up for public access. I'm sorry. And
Yeah, just so you know, we'll handle on our end coordinating, entering the data into the map GIS system.
Okay.
Okay.
okay, thank you. So that'll be more interactive on there. People will be able to search for a certain name, and then they can search on the GIS map for the number that corresponds to that. And so that's pretty much everything that I've done.
Wow. That's
Congratulations, you did a
fantastic.
great job, and I know that's a great value to the town and to,
So
particularly
I'd like
veterans.
to ask you for your signature. You're under beneficiary name.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that the board authorize, that the board approve the finalized project, Eagle Scout project of Owen Conti, and authorize you to sign the document for him.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Fantastic work.
Thank you very much.
And I will definitely notify you when they're all loaded and ready to go.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We appreciate it.
And you
too.
feel relieved?
A little bit.
So now, does this go on to the headquarters?
Yes.
With your package?
So yeah, I have to fill out the rest of my workbook with all the other information, and then fill out an application and get letters of recommendation and send them off to them, and then they'll call me for a board review.
Oh, that's great.
Fantastic. Good
Excellent.
work. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
same, Don?
Don't worry about it. It's all right.
She's
I was
still
late
there.
to stand. Congratulations, well done.
And then you can take this.
Thank you, Rowan. Very
You're welcome.
Good job.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to do this work.
Thank you. And I'd like to say that as the Eagle Scouts graduate from high school and move on, their projects live on in the town, and we have some very impressive projects. And this is one of the best that we have so far. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And a hand, we should give a hand to the proud parents also. Oh, doesn't happen like that.
John, will a copy of that be posted in the new town hall, the new old town hall?
Right in my new office.
Yes, yes, that's
Fantastic.
fine. That's a great idea. That's good.
Thank you all.
Thanks very much. Okay, next thing, public input. Anybody have any public input? No? Okay. Okay. Mrs. Aaronstein, Town Administrator Report.
So my report tonight is a little bit long. I hope cable can hear me. This is usually up higher, but they come in and move it around, so I don't want to change it. So my first item is for sewer services. Just in some conversations about business development and increasing access for the business community, I've been able to speak with Diane in the Sewer Commission Department, and she gave me some great information and some history, basically, on where they are. And we were approached by a landowner for some development information, and this got the conversation going about sewer services and how we could help the business community in that regard. And she allowed me to speak with their town council. The Sewer Commission has their own town council, and he gave me some great feedback and history of this as well. And basically, this is here before you because I was hoping, in the interest of developing business and growing our local economy, that you, the Board of Selectmen, would write a letter to the sewer commissioners, and ask that they, request that they develop a flow calculation study, and that they include in this study expanding sewer services and assessing where it could occur, where it makes sense to occur, just kind of doing an audit of what they have and what it could be. So that's what I'm here for
What
today.
would they call the study?
A
Flow
flow calculation study.
Oh, okay.
The
Is that
purpose,
the flow of the?
I wrote it down because it doesn't,
yeah,
I
right.
don't recall
Yeah.
it correctly. Flow calculation, but
I
that's
mean-
for like what your usage would be and what type of business could go there.
The issue is down in the southern part of town, there's very few, very little infrastructure, and sewer is one of the biggest issues, so.
And well, I also think to that point, Mr. Chairman, it's been a hindrance for, small
Oh, yeah,
businesses that
absolutely.
want to start up who don't want to pay to install a septic system. And I think that's been a deal breaker for
It has, yeah.
a lot of businesses who want to come to Dayton maybe, so.
So this would be the first step, and just getting a look at it and then
Right.
make a longer range plan, so. thank
When
you.
you said that they talked to their council, do you mean engineer?
No, he's an attorney, well, he has engineering experience, but he's their attorney.
Oh, he's a
He's a
okay.
legal
Like a special
attorney,
town
and
council.
he's, right, and he's working on the intermunicipal agreement with Taunton,
Oh, okay.
basically. So I just needed the,
So I'll entertain a motion to do that.
Miss-
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that the Board of Selectmen write a letter asking the Sewer Commission to do a flow calculation study to study the possible expansion of sewer services in town.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? If none, okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank
thank you. My next item is about what was discussed last meeting, the Cannabis Task Force. We were able to reach out to everybody that we had mentioned before. I do have a list of names of those who said that they would be willing to serve, and we also have a member of the public. Selectman Zagrafis kind of brought her in, and she has, I don't know exactly, but she has experience in the industry in a way, and I thought that would be a great perspective.
So just to, yeah, absolutely. Everything you said is true, but just to be a little more precise, Kathy Spencer, longtime Dayton resident, she's actually a licensed medicinal cannabis therapist. And she also sits on a nonprofit advisory panel, and also has helped the nonprofit get up and running. So she has a lot of experience, and I just felt like having expertise and knowledge of the actual product will help to inform any sort of policy framework that is developed from the work of the task force.
And who are the names?
I agree. I'll read the names, and I also just want to mention the CCC hearing, the Cannabis Control Commission held public, they've been holding public hearings throughout the state. The closest one here was Dartmouth. Myself, Selectman Zagrafis, and Selectman Goulart attended that. Selectman Goulart actually spoke. And just even being there and listening to people's concerns has my mind working on what this task force should be charged with or could be charged with to help develop. So that's to come. But it was Selectman Zagrafis from the Board of Selectmen, myself as a town administrator, Matt Tanis from the Board of Health, Chris McGee, the fire chief, Bob McDonald, the police chief, Ms. Kathy Spencer, our resident at large. I had not heard from the town nurse or from Tom Pyers, who I asked to communicate to the town nurse, but she might be best suited to be sort of a liaison or maybe a consultant to the board that would bring her in. And then
We could actually, if it's okay with the board, we could think about appointing Nurse Collins as an ad hoc member, so she can show up and come as she wants and give her expertise and insight.
Great. And, and then the ZBA, actually, two of members of the ZBA provided their interest, so they do need to just nominate throughout them. Do you have an update?
Yeah, so I followed up with Timothy Rhines, who's a member, and he was okay with Chairman Pacheco being on the task force, and he said if we want to appoint him as an alternate member in case Mr. Pacheco can't make any meetings, that was okay with him.
And I will say to the public, these would be open meetings for public input.
Absolutely.
One comment I want to make, and we probably need to have a discussion about this. I think when a selectman is appointed to a board, because it just happened with me on this building, Dayton School Building Study Committee, I think it should be an ad hoc member. Because otherwise, what basically happens is if you're voting on the committee, you're voting to make a recommendation to us, so you're making a recommendation to yourself if you.
So the way, well said.
No.
Well, the way I've gotten around it is just not voted on anything.
I called the State Ethics Commission because I'm I'm chairman of the Stormwater
It's a little
Committee.
bit different, though.
As long as there is no compensation involved, members of the Board of Selectmen are free to serve on any committee, even if the recommendation comes back to the board for action, because they're only one member. And so, one member does not make the decision, you've got to have at least one other. But I was assured that serving on any committee, your basic job is the selectman, but as long as you have no financial interest in what it is you're studying, and you are not being compensated, you can serve and there is no conflict.
And still act on whatever the recommendation is? Okay.
Yes.
I believe that.
Okay. Also, I'm
think
sorry, I
we-
forgot
Still,
somebody.
yeah.
I understand you're thinking,
well,
I mean, whether, I know, maybe it's.
the perception
The ethics
sometimes.
commission doesn't want it. I just think it's, I don't know.
I think if
Good
anyone's
practice.
uncomfortable in that position, then I can see, like you're mentioning, it's coming back, and if you're uncomfortable, then I would say, if I felt uncomfortable, I'd say, I really don't feel comfortable doing this.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
But I mainly wanted to make sure that, because I'm chairman of the committee and I've got this stuff going on and
Yeah,
everything,
see,
I don't want to just back out, and so, but
And you're-
I'm all set.
yeah, the committee that Nancy is speaking to is a committee which is subordinate to the Board of Health, which I think is a very different situation, because your recommendation on that committee is going to the Board of Health, and then if it comes to us.
But in all fairness, Selectman
Yeah.
Goulart, and we all did, we appointed those members on
I
the
know,
board.
I know,
So it's
just
kind of,
whatever you
it's
wanna do,
the
I
same
just-
situation in a way.
I did, when I talked to the attorney of the day, Attorney Malum, I said, now this is the connection, but there are other committees that the Board of Selectmen may have membership on that they aren't reporting through a subcommittee to a higher committee. And she reiterated about the no financial interest and you're not being compensated. I said, no, it's not extra money or anything else. But again, I think it's up to the individual to say, I'm not comfortable doing it, and I think that's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Also,
I'm sorry, Ego, say something?
Of
Yeah,
course.
go ahead.
I want to get recognized.
Yes.
You have
Thank
to
you very
stand up
much.
and introduce yourself, Mr.
Tell us who
Berkeley.
you are.
So you're in these positions. I'll give you an example. They're looking, sometimes the group is looking to you because you're already in a leadership position in the town. So I can see where you might feel maybe you don't want to be, in other words, it's clean with the Ethics Commission, but you're feeling like, I don't feel good about it. So you go either way then, right?
But that's a personal preference is what Selectman Goulart is
So
saying.
it's the
She's saying,
individual, right?
The
she's,
other thing is,
I'd like to see. we'll
if
talk
the
about policy, but
population,
some-
I get what you're
some
if
of
the
it.
population of the town hits 10,000,
Correct.
there's different rules.
Yeah.
Because she said to me, when did you hit 8,000? I said, fairly recently, the town clerk announced it. She says, because they always go back to the last census. I said, we weren't 8,000 back in 2010. We've gradually been growing. So when the town hits 10,000, if there are these kinds of appointments, it's different rules.
All the changes then?
She told me that, yes.
So for now, why don't we appoint this?
Sure, and just before you do, I forgot the planning board member. Sorry. It's Robert Woods.
Okay.
Please
So somebody
add
wanna-
him to the list.
Make a
So
motion?
if you'd like, okay.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to appoint the aforementioned individuals to the Cannabis Policy Task Force.
Would you just read those, because we
Yes.
should have the names in the motion?
Absolutely. Selectman DeGraffis, Town Administrator Mallory Aaronstein, Board of Health Member Matthew Tanis, Planning Board Member Robert Woods, ZBA Member Ken Pacheco, Fire Chief Chris McGee, Police Chief Bob McDonald, and Resident at Large Kathy Spencer, with the town nurse as an ad hoc. I don't know if you wanted to go there
Yeah.
with that.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Wonderful.
Good
We'll
work.
get that scheduled right away because there are state deadlines and all of that.
Yep.
So we'll get the
together.
appointments, and then are you gonna recommend a charge?
Yes.
I think, if I may, instead of having us determine the charge, if we could have the task force do it and run it by the Board of Selectmen if they have any edits, is that okay with everybody?
Yeah, I think that's
as
a
long-
good idea.
Yeah, as long as we.
I just want to mention also, when I went downstairs to the planning board on a totally different issue, they were going to vote tonight to, as the planning board, to take a stand and request that a moratorium be declared of at least 6 months. They weren't sure that a vote's needed, or somebody said you should vote, and what I said to them
Moratorium on
was,
what?
Adult use,
the
right?
adult
Adult
use.
use, okay, okay.
And I said, better to take the vote and have it than need it and not do it.
Right.
And so
Great.
I said, if you take the vote, just notify the Board of Selectmen, that as the elected planning board, this is your position.
Yeah.
Because from the hearing we went to, ZBA should take some kind of action. The Board of Selectmen should make a statement so that it's clear to the public what the position is as far as this moratorium.
The moratorium would have to be passed as a bylaw
At a town meeting?
at a town meeting.
Well, all
For it
this,
to be
they talked
effective.
about, well, the rest
Why
of
don't
it is, I asked Karen to put a note in the town meeting folder. They're gonna take this vote tonight, and they're gonna ask their legal counsel to draft a bylaw for consideration. So there's just a note in the folder. That's coming, but tonight was, they just wanted to,
And I think the task force ought to be
You know.
the one to kind of put that all together
Right.
and make some recommendations.
My only, and I said this to the planning board, my only comment on the moratorium, which, if we need more time, we need more time, I'm okay with that, was just that you could only delay it until June of 2018, and we're not gonna have the town meeting until June of 2018, so in a way, it's not really gonna do anything.
but the purpose of the hearing is to collect reactions to the regulations. And I think with all those hearings, there's gonna be changes
Maybe
in
a
those
change, yeah.
regs. So,
I think April 1st.
And I agree, you should have something ready to go, but just know that
and I
if it
think
doesn't
also
change,
the fact that
then
they're going to hire, they're going to have their own counsel, Lisa,
who's gonna
draft
pass
this,
it?
that's gonna be good for the committee to look at.
Right.
Yeah,
They'll have
attorney
some
needs to
place to
work.
start.
Great.
Okay,
Thank you.
let's move on.
So more to come on that. Great neighborhoods, this was something that was on last meeting, and I'll try to go quickly. So Selectman DeGraffis put me in touch with somebody from the Smart Growth Alliance. They're basically a lobbyist group for fair housing in the sense of many housing alternatives for all populations, seniors, families just starting out, just to provide a robust housing market. I think we all know that housing is an issue for low income and our senior population statewide. So this group helps to combat that, and they're really coming out at the same time that the governor has released his housing initiative, and they share a lot of the same ideals that have really been thought out here down in Dayton, with the different zoning changes that have come about in the last few years and been passed. So what great neighborhoods is what they're calling, and this housing lobbyist group, they call it, they have make it easier for young families and seniors to stay in their communities. They provide healthy, active communities with access to open space, recreational places, natural resources, and encouraging compact development patterns, which would allow you to bike or walk or anything like that. And it also allows, they want legislation that would help cities and towns plan, which I think the town, I might be biased, but the town of Dayton has done great work in planning and preparing and keeping up to date with a production plan. So anyway, Smart Growth Alliance has a lot to offer with, and they want towns to sign on and pledge to their state legislators that they want bills that reflect a great neighborhood. And there is currently legislation going through. It's about to go to committee, so now's the time to sign on board if we wanted to, that we support these things. And
There's no financial.
I think you do. No, it's just saying we want you to pass bills that incorporate this. While it doesn't specifically address 40B, I think it's a start, personally. That's my personal opinion. 40B makes it difficult for communities to really have control over what's going on, and I think this is a good start to get that conversation going at the state level, which
It really
has been
speaks
in
to all
need.
the things that people have indicated they feel are important. Keep it right. or have it
I
done.
think before we take action on this, we need to take a look at the connection, the potential connection between this group and the New England Builders Association. The governor's bill proposal mentioned New England Builders. Last year, I attended several meetings that were held at DEP headquarters in Boston, and it was about making major changes to the Title V law. And the New England Builders Association was very well represented because they want the Title V regulations to be taken out of the town and that there would be one regulation statewide. Well, needless to say, the communities that were present said, you can't do that. The Cape is not the Berkshires. The whole point of the New England Builders Association was they want to build cluster housing and put all this stuff together, which is not the direction Dayton wants to go. So I think we need to get more information about where that whole situation is. There was adamant opposition to changes in Title V, but they were pushing it because it would
They want
open
a
this
free
up
reign
more.
to build wherever they want.
And quite frankly, I sat there listening to them criticize these communities that are buying up land just for open space, and as I'm sitting there with a smirk, I'm thinking, that's us.
But how would this impact that?
Well, I think I don't want
Well,
to
the
speak
fact
for you,
that
but
the governor has referenced the New England Builders Association in the article I read,
and the
what I'm
compact.
saying is, if this is part of the or they're supporting this kind of legislation, if there is a connection between the New England Builders Association,
In this effort?
that organization, before I say to a legislature, I want to support this, I sat in those Title V meetings and absolutely not.
So I don't know if that's the case, so I can research
all I'm
that.
saying is we need to look more into
Right.
that.
And I would say the thing that kind of scared me off originally was, or a little bit, I think it makes sense, but the compact development patterns, to me, that's a little vague. So yes, we want walkability,
Sounds like what
walkability,
you're talking
bikeability, but that.
Cluster.
So why don't we do
Exactly,
this?
but I was unaware of the New England Builders Association, but looking at the legislation,
I
I think
hadn't
will
gone
tell
to
us.
those DEP hearings, because when I came back, I talked to Joe Pacheco about them, and I said, this is what they're proposing. I said, I can't imagine that, even in Dayton. Different parts of town, the soil is different.
Right, Plus, I think,
So-
yeah. I
Well,
mean,
one size doesn't always fit all. What
That's one way to
what I
control
will
it.
say is, we'll always have our concerns, and there'll always be good and bad. I do, I don't think we want everything in one area, but I think the upside to having quote-unquote compact development, whatever that term means, is that by having things in one place, you could preserve your forests, your farms, and not have houses spread out everywhere. So I think it's just organizing the development. What I will also say is the part of this program that I like, after reading up on it, was that it coincided with Governor Baker's housing choice program. The reason I like that is because of the word choice. Because choice means instead of just having a developer who wants to put a 40B and tell you where it's going, we'll get a say, because this could allow us to redo our zoning bylaws and better dictate specifically to Dayton what the development pattern should be. So I like that this would allow towns rather to retain a little bit more autonomy in terms of zoning bylaws and
Control our
controlling
growth in a
development.
certain way.
The only red flag out of what I read in the paper about the governor's housing plan was the connection between the Builders Association, and I remember those Title V meetings, and I thought, oops, we gotta be careful on this one.
So you'll find out more about it,
Yep,
and then we'll come back
absolutely.
and address it again, okay?
I'm going to skip, for those of you who have the agenda, I'm just going to skip down to E really quickly. DLTA, Local Technical Assistance. I just wanted to let you know, it came across our desks, I believe that you saw it in an email, the 2018 Local Technical Assistance Grant.
What's DLTA?
Local Technical Assistance.
The
Division,
DLTA?
I think. Division.
Division of
Okay, I got
local.
it, I got
Local
you.
Technical
Okay.
Assistance, sorry. So, as you may remember, we had our open space plan come before you with Serpide, and we got a grant from the state, but it didn't cover everything that a plan goes into. A plan generally is about $25,000, and our grant was either 10 or 11. And the remainder is going to be funded through DLTA. So I ended up just putting on paper and applying for that, for local technical assistance through Serpide. I should say this is all through Serpide. Just to put that on paper, but that's good to go, and we've got a signed agreement, and they're working on that. I also did a housing initiative, a housing production plan. Our current production plan expires in November. They're only good for 5 years. So I've asked or, requested technical assistance for developing a housing production
Through
plan.
Serpide?
Through Serpide. A grant to do it.
Separate from they still owe us 20 hours.
Right, so they're
is-
also
Keeping
doing,
track.
they're
That
also
goes
doing.
back to
But
the
that's separate.
original
Yes.
the original contact with Serpide.
Yes,
Was for our CCC application. One of the things I talked to Grant King about, and he assured me, was there would be money available to help with the stormwater program. So I contacted him and said, what's available? He says, you've still got 20 hours. So he sent the form to me for the stormwater committee to apply for assistance. That goes back to CCC. So if there's additional grant money or a new grant, that's fine.
This is new.
this
though,
is
right?
new, this is
Yeah,
a
you're
grant.
not
This-
proposing
I'm-
to use the 20
No,
hours.
the 20 hours are
I'm
not,
only
and
making you
also
aware of
I,
this,
no,
'cause
I knew
just
the
got
20 hours.
I just got the stormwater
And
thing from him.
Bill Napoleon, I can't say
Napolitano.
Thank you, Napolitano. I always want to say Napoleon, I don't know why. He's working on agricultural commission stuff as well.
Right,
So
right.
I did not want to take any of the 20 hours.
Okay.
This is just extra, see what we can
And it's
get.
Grant King that's involved with, he was the CCC person, and he's the one that
Right.
sent me this other form. So I'll get that to you, so you
I'm very
can look
much
at it.
aware of those 20 hours, they're
And
precious,
I will
precious.
say, I'm not gonna hold Bill's feet to the fire because he does a lot for us and we're super appreciative. But Bill is a really great guy, and I feel like he would help us any way he could. I'm not speaking for you, Bill. If you don't have the time, you don't have the time. But he's always willing to help. So I would
He does a great
suspect,
job for
even if we don't have the monies right now, I would just send him an email. He's
Oh, no,
really
they're great. And he also, he was here
awesome.
today with the Open Space Committee.
His
Nice.
boss will have a discussion with him tomorrow. About free services.
Yeah, what's all this free stuff we're hearing about?
We have a hearing at 8 o'clock, so
Yep,
I'll
we
go
have
on
to-
pause.
Yep.
and- Oh, thank you.
Okay, we have a public hearing, and this is regarding the application for Class 2 auto dealer's license in the name of Town Line Auto. And your Town Line Auto, I assume? So why don't you come up and... We just have your name and where your business is going to be.
My name is Keith Gunderson. We're going to be running Town Line Auto on 100 William Street.
And what's the plan?
We're going to sell cars.
Yep.
is really the biggest thing we're gonna do, sell cars and trucks.
Will these be new, used?
Used,
Used,
that's,
okay.
yeah, it's a Class 2, it's the auction across the street. I'm gonna take advantage of,
Oh,
you know, the auction across the street and try to run a decent business on that side of the land, you know?
And what do you think your volume's gonna be as far
I
as?
don't know that.
sales?
I hope it will pick up. I hope things will start moving. I don't know that at this time. I think there's enough property over there where, you know,
Yeah.
I don't think it matters as far as what, you know,
Yeah,
across the street, there's one every 16 inches, or whatever you can fit through. So I don't think we're gonna get that big, but I would like to think that we would grow. And as of right now, I don't really know. I've never done it.
okay, good.
And this is where we're off. I'm gonna try to have my son and my partner, and they're gonna try to,
Well, we welcome your
think
business,
so.
that's,
Yep,
we really do
I
welcome
thank
your
you,
business,
yep.
so.
Are you going to build a garage?
no. Right now, we have an overhang and a couple of containers. We have 2 facilities in a different location that we do
Okay.
the work at. At some point, if it does profit, I would like to think that we could put a repair facility there, but that would be, you know, that would be something else. We'd have to go through the rules and regulations, I'm sure, on a new shop, a repair shop, you know. As of right now, we're not gonna be doing, you know, we might do light repairs, change a tire, you know,
Yeah.
change a, you know, stuff like that, but no
Fluids.
major repair at all.
Fluids, right.
No fluids,
What will
no.
be your hours of operation and days of the week?
Well, I think what we're gonna do, at the beginning is probably 9 to 7, 6 days a week. Saturdays is not gonna, you know, be an all-day affair, but we will be there Saturday. I mean, it's kinda hard, that's when most people are off, so. I was gonna try to do 6 days a week. If I do see that I need the Sunday, you know, I would like to think I could run it. I mean, we are in a commercial area, and they run 7 days a week across the road, so I can't see where there'd be an issue with me doing it, but as of right now, we're not.
Okay, great. Any other questions?
Is this the first business you've started up?
No, I used to run a welding shop, I still run a welding shop at the other facility for 30 years. I've had and my partner has a repair shop that he's had for 10 years, so, which is at another facility. But
Thank you.
Hopefully a good network there.
Yeah.
Good group, yeah, okay.
Has everybody been notified that should have been notified about the hearing? Okay, thank you.
Anybody else hear about the hearing? I guess not, because I know everybody else in the room, so, okay.
And bring up the Day and Water District.
Pardon me?
Day and Water
Thank you,
District.
yeah.
Questions about?
Oh, yeah, one of the questions or the issues was the tires.
Well, I think the tires were there 40 years. If there was a concern with it, I think the concern should have been 40 years ago.
Well, yeah.
But yes, I know they're there, and when I bought it, I didn't think there was as many as there were. But we have plans down the end right now that are gonna try to start, we have already started cleaning up
Okay, yeah.
some tires, and I am gonna work, that's my goal, and I told the gentleman that sold it to me, which I was very good friends with, that we will address it.
Yeah.
I'm working on something down the end of the property right now that's gonna help, which is the major part of the tires, which is down towards I don't know what address that would be next to me, but anyway, at that point, they were cleaning it up. We are gonna go from that end, which is the worst end, and eventually work ourselves towards my facility.
Because that's obvious, it should have been dealt with 40 years ago.
It
but
was,
it's-
they were dumped long before rules and regulations. It's a mess. We've cleaned up a lot of it. I've brought, you know, a couple dumpsters out already. But I believe we'll do it as we have money to do it, and as we can, you know, I'm hoping that some of the plans that we do have for the other side of the property there will help do that, will help clean
How
that
many
up.
tires are there, do you know?
Well, I think what they used it for is, because I understand the guy that just built the building next to me, they, you know, they moved quite a few.
Right.
And I believe what they did with them is they just use it to hold back the fill from the parking lot. When they built the parking lot, they used them everywhere to do that.
Right.
Back then, I guess, is what I understand. I read up on it. But I guess it's a beautiful way of holding the fill from running, from
Are there some
eroding.
under the pavement?
No, I don't think there's many there. No, I think it tapers back towards the towards the parking lot line. So I think once you knife that off, you're fine underneath the asphalt. I found that up by me, because we just moved some material around when they did the leach field there.
Yeah.
They moved some material around, and there was nothing underneath the parking lot there, so that was a great sign. Plus, they did a 21E on the property, and everything come back clean, except them small areas. So we're gonna address it. I want to address it anyway. I mean, it's not the most beautiful thing to look at, that's for sure. But they've been there for 40 years. They weren't my problem.
Of course.
They are now, and I am gonna try to address it as I can.
Well, it sounds like if you hadn't taken over the property, the tires would have
They were
stayed
never
there for
gon-
another
they were
40
never gonna
years
be
until they
addressed.
deteriorated, so.
Exactly, so we are trying to work, we're trying to make a nice operation.
Okay, thank you.
Hopefully we will.
And the only other comment we had was from the Dayton Water District
Yep.
Superintendent, that when you're doing your cleanup, obviously, they have concerns, but I'm sure as their neighbor, you're gonna work with them and
Absolutely.
protect them. Let's put it that
Absolutely.
way.
I know we're in a watershed area. That's why right now we're not gonna do any of the major repairs there. At some point, we would like to, I'm sure when I put up a building, I would like to do it by code and do the proper things. I mean, the 360-degree circle around me does nothing but repairs. 90% of them aren't, I'm sure, up to today's standards. So when we do a building, it will be up to today's standards. It has to be, and we'll do it the right way. But there's a lot of people in the area doing repairs, a lot of people doing, the same thing we're gonna do. We have to do it right when we do a new building. But as of right now, we can't warrant a new building, so.
Okay, thank you. So we need a motion?
I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman. Okay, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve Mr. Gunderson?
Yes.
Mr. Gunderson's application for the Class 2 auto dealer's license under the name of Town Line Auto.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? If none, all in favor say aye.
Aye. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome to Dayton.
Welcome to Dayton, yeah. Hope you have
Thank
a
you.
good business, yeah. Okay, let us back up now.
We
Are
were
you gonna talk
on,
about relocation, or are you gonna skip that?
I think this is not really something we need to
I would
discuss.
agree.
Just,
Yep, okay.
we got the feedback we needed, though?
we put it out there. I
Yep.
think people are mulling it, I'm sorry, public. This is for the office relocation discussion that is spurred by the 4 departments moving into Old Town Hall, what that would mean for this town hall. I don't know how to
How we
refer
would
to it.
reallocate space.
Yes, so, we put it out there and we invited people to
Department head meeting
respond,
today,
so.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we take under advisement the agenda item office relocation discussion for a future meeting.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Great.
Thank you, that's my report. Sorry it was very long.
No, thank you. Comprehensive, right?
Okay, we have a release of Chapter 61A land.
We have to
We're
table
gonna
this one
table,
more
okay,
time.
so we wanna make a motion?
I move that we table action on release of the Chapter 61A land at 940 William Street to a future meeting.
Second.
And the reason we're doing this is because we need more information about this particular piece of property, so. Oh.
How far is that?
Huh?
How far up is that?
I'm not,
Can I ask?
I don't know the details of it.
Oh, I was just,
After you pass, going north, after you pass the under the sun, you go around the curve, you're going north, the road straightens out,
okay.
okay? There is an open hayfield, I'll call it, on the west side, and there is a white house there.
Oh,
It was all farmland, and if you drive by, you'll see there are new houses being built there, one, it's not a development, but, sell some land here and build a house.
okay.
So that's the location.
I was just curious, thank you.
And 61A is agricultural land, so if they're gonna do anything else with it, we need to remove that restriction or that that designation. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries, great. Okay, new business, cruise nights. Tony, what do you want to do? Why don't you come up here, tell us who you are, and... Yeah.
Yeah, you guys all know me, Tony Rosario from the Taunton area Vietnam vets. And like the board knows that I do the cruise nights back here once a month, June, July, and August. That's weather permitting, so asking permission to use the field again. Well, not the field, but this year, and probably the field if I get a lot of cars. And that's it. You know.
Do you have any idea on dates, Mr. Rosario?
Yeah, get the dates.
Thank you. Take your time, Mr. Rosario.
So if it's rainy on one of your cruise nights, do you schedule it for the next week, or just
No, that's
cancel
it.
all of it?
If a little bit of rain or something like that, that's it, no cruise nights. It'll be June the 23rd, July 28th, and August the 25th, the fourth Saturday. And like I said, this is all weather permitting. If it looks like it's gonna rain or anything like that, those guys ain't showing up. Those guys.
Keep me warm
They're not risking it.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
And the money that we raise goes to the scholarships, and it was ironic that last 2 years, I think it was the last 2 years that we gave scholarships to Diane Rehoboth.
Fantastic, thank you.
The best, they help all do the hamburgers and hot dogs and stuff like that.
Great organization.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board approve the request of the Taunton area Vietnam veterans to allow them to use the field on June 23rd, July 28th, August 25th, weather permitting.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion?
The only thing I'd say is, check these dates out with Parks and Rec, just to make sure, get your date on the calendar, so it doesn't, we don't
Like I
have
said,
conflict.
this is only for 4 hours also.
Yeah.
It's only like for 4 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, those guys, they come and go and have a hamburger, have a hot dog, shoot the breeze, and they're off to another cruise night.
Yeah,
Great.
okay.
It's very
Okay.
well
Thanks, Tony.
attended, by the way. I always drive by, can't get a car in there.
Are you not gonna bring your car down?
No, my 2011 Honda Civic.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you,
All in-
Mr.
All in
Rosario.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Great. Thanks,
Thank you.
Mr. Rosario.
Thanks, Tony.
Mr. Rosario.
Okay, we have to discuss the bond rating and award of the bond for the police station. We have our town treasurer here, Mary Hathaway. You want to give us a little insight onto this so we can...
We did good on our bond rating. We got a AA3, which was excellent.
Yeah.
And the amount we have to borrow is less than we anticipated. We're going to borrow $4,670,000 instead of the $48,000, 4.8.
And that's from the bond rating,
Yeah.
Treasurer?
We got 7 bids that came in. The interest rate is an average of 3.6.
8.6?
3.6.
3.6, 8.6, that's pretty good.
And that's because some years it's 5%, and then towards the later end, it looks like 3.
So the interest goes down every year.
Okay.
Great.
Yep, so there's a lot of paperwork that you will have to sign.
Okay.
I have one question, and I thank you for, and Town Administrator Aaronstein, for your due diligence on this. I was a little shocked to see that I'm the one that has to sign it, not me personally, but the clerk of the Board of Selectmen. Does anyone know why that is?
That is you.
So
I know why-
you have to
why
sign.
is it
Because the
But why
clerk of
the
the
clerk?
board is the official keeper of the records, like the town clerk is the official keeper of
He
the
makes
records.
fun of me for keeping the good records.
No, that's... I keep making fun of you for duplicating records.
The document you have right there, that language is actually part of the official record that Karen
Okay.
will put
Yeah.
together. So Karen does have this in Word, and then you'll sign that. Once those minutes are approved, you'll sign that part of it. No one's off the hook. There's quite a bit of paperwork to sign tonight, all 3 of you, but there are a couple for just the clerk of the Board of Selectmen.
Correct.
So I will just, Mary, the
Yes.
treasurer, did a great job, and so did our town accountant.
So did you?
Thank you, and I'm very proud of our AA3, and we were able to originally, it was 4.8 million that we were going out to bond, and We had a good return on the premium. It was too high, basically. So we went back out and only bonded for 4.6 million. And what that means for the taxpayer is that we didn't have to bond as much, and our payment is lower. So, well done.
Thank you.
And what I would also say, based on the statistics that you have prepared for us this evening, is a difference of 200,000 is basically like a year's worth of interest payment that we're avoiding by having the AA3 rating. So fantastic.
Yes.
Good job.
Fantastic.
Thanks for everybody involved. Great job.
Thank you.
I'm sorry for keeping you.
That's
Okay,
okay.
Yeah,
so-
we'll take
We're gonna keep them in order too, we have to keep it in order.
They have to be in order. So
So-
do you want to sign this now, because bond council's coming to pick this up?
When now?
Well,
Well-
tomorrow,
Oh,
but
okay.
you have to sign this. I don't know,
Is
some,
this the document we're going to sign?
These
all of
are the
those.
documents.
Yeah, rather than take up meeting time.
Okay, that's
We
fine.
do it
That's
after,
fine.
we'll do it after. We
Just want
first
me-
need to pass.
I will be the keeper of those if you'd
Okay.
like, yes.
Please.
Ooh, a lot of signatures. So I guess we need a motion to.
Now you know I gave you all those pens.
Oh, you gave me
I
those?
promise I'll keep it.
Okay.
Thanks.
So we need a
Hold on, let's put this
motion
in.
and a vote on this.
Yeah, so I would have a motion to, first of all, to sign the, you want to say, it's fine, thank you. That you approve and award the bond of $4.67 million, or $4,670,000. And you can say to FTN Financial Capital Markets.
Oh, we're
That-
just
that little
following the
bit.
voted
Yeah,
blurbs.
so
Okay, I
you would move and
understand.
vote for this, and then we'll take care of signing this before we leave tonight.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board approve the sale of general obligation police station bonds in the amount of $4,670,000 dated February 15, 2018, to FTN Financial Capital Markets.
Second.
And, sorry, keep going, at the price of,
At the price of $4,860,140.67, and accrued interest, if any, is hereby approved and confirmed. The bond shall be payable on February 15th of the years in the principal amounts and bear interest in the respective rates as follows. All of that is part
as
of it.
presented, if you want.
As
to.
and bear interest at the respective rates as listed.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? None? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. We'll sign all these
Yeah,
afterwards.
so-
Take up meetings.
She went over this with me, so
The next one has to be voted.
Yeah, we have to go through the list for
Okay,
all of
Mr.
them.
Chairman, I move that the bonds maturing on February 15, 2034, February 15, 2036, and February 15, 2038, each a term bond shall be subject to mandatory redemption or mature as follows, and matures as listed.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Before we
Aye.
vote,
Oh, I'm
I just
sorry.
had one question. Maybe you guys will know. They left out 2033 under the first thing we voted. Is there a reason for that, but why it's under the term bond to February 15th, 2034?
Under the first thing?
Okay.
Oh,
do you-
yep, I see.
Yeah, they skipped 2033. So I actually had a question about this originally, so now's the time.
You know what?
In
I
30
don't know if, so.
I didn't know if that was a
Margaret has-
typo or not.
can-
That's what I was
Margaret is
wondering.
our bond counsel.
In
Okay.
She has a whole sheet that explains all of this in more detail. I'll ask her, but everything is.
But this sheet is correct for the
This is
voting?
correct,
Okay.
yes.
30 and 34 is up above and down below at different amounts.
Well, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking they combined the two into 2035. I could be wrong, though.
But why would they do that? Because
I
we
have
have to
no
make an
idea.
annual payment.
So why not,
But that
Well,
equals
Subject
the
to
amount.
final approval by bond
Right,
counsel,
right,
because she'll have to fix
Right.
that. She'll have that information.
good point.
Nothing messes with the signature pages, though, so we'll still have to go for it. And she's coming tomorrow, so we'll be able to
We
clear
had a
it up.
vote in a second, so we can vote if you're ready, Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
But when you look at the next page, you notice there are also some dates in here that are duplicated here.
Yeah.
So it must have something to do with the final maturity.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, because it has the asterisks.
Okay, want to move to the next one?
And they skip every 2 years here So that, I think that's correct. I think they're adding both together as part of the final maturity, because that's how they get the total of $460,000.
Mr. Chairman, I move that in connection with the marketing and sale of the bonds, the preparation and distribution of a notice of sale and preliminary official statement dated January 23rd, 2018, and a final official statement dated February 1st, 2018, the official statement, each in such form as may be approved by the town treasurer, be and hereby ratified, confirmed, approved, and adopted.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? If none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the bond shall be subject to redemption at the option of the town upon such terms and conditions as are set forth in the official statement.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the town treasurer and the Board of Selectmen be, and hereby are, authorized to execute and deliver a continuing disclosure undertaking in compliance with SEC Rule 15C2-12 in such form as may be approved by bond counsel to the town, which undertaking shall be incorporated by reference in the bonds for the benefit of the holders of the bonds from time to time.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Mr. Chairman, I move that we authorize and direct the treasurer to establish post-issuance federal tax compliance procedures in such form as the treasurer and bond counsel deem sufficient, or if such procedures are currently in place, to review and update said procedures in order to monitor and maintain the tax-exempt status of the bonds.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I move that each member of the Board of Selectmen, the town clerk, and the town treasurer be and hereby are authorized to take any and all such actions and execute and deliver such certificates, receipts, or other documents as may be determined by them or any of them to be necessary or convenient to carry into effect the provisions of the foregoing votes.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And then you're just going to sign this.
Yeah, so I have 4 copies, but you'll do that
We'll
when
do
you
that
sign
afterwards.
everything. Yep.
I
Someone
think
should
it- I
authorize
think
me
it
to
would
sign
be-
it here, no?
You're the clerk,
You're the
you're
clerk,
already
so-
authorized.
Yeah,
because
Brett,
you're
and
the
I
clerk.
think it would be appropriate for you to read that last statement
Absolutely.
publicly, because you're
Sure.
stating what you're certifying.
Yep, I will. Thank you. Okay, bear with me, public. I further certify that the votes were taken at a meeting open to the public, that no vote was taken by secret ballot, that a notice stating the place, date, time, and agenda for the meeting, which agenda included the adoption of the above votes, was filed with the town clerk, and a copy thereof posted in a manner conspicuously visible to the public at all hours in or on the municipal building that the office of the town clerk is located, or, if applicable, in accordance with an alternative method of notice prescribed or approved by the Attorney General as set forth in 940 CMR 29.03 2B, at least 48 hours, not including Saturdays, Sundays, and legal holidays, prior to the time of the meeting, and remain so posted at the time of the meeting, that no deliberations or decision in connection with the sale of the bonds were taken in executive session, all in accordance with General Law, Chapter 30A, subsection 18-25, as amended, dated February 7th, 2018, to be signed by the clerk of the Board of Selectmen.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's really just the open meeting law. I wish they just said in
Yes.
accordance with the open
Yeah,
meeting
right.
law.
We're already doing.
Okay,
Great.
the next order of business to designate a stormwater committee as a subcommittee of the Board of Health. So, do we have the list of,
That's a request from Mr. Pius, the chairman of the
There's-
Board of
yep.
Health.
okay. Okay.
Do we need to act on C before we act on D?
Well, that's what we're doing. Oh, I
Where are we?
see.
Oh,
Why is there two?
You already ratified the appointments last week of all
Okay.
those members,
Mhm.
except Tom Hires, who was voted tonight, as the planning board rep to replace the vacancy left by Heidi.
Okay.
Okay, so we just
So
need
we've
to
got- we got one
appoint Mr.
appointment.
Byers?
One appointment.
One appointment, and then we need to do the stormwater subcommittee.
Right.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to appoint Tom Byers to the Stormwater Committee
As the
as the
representative.
representative from the planning board.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Great.
Mr. Chairman, I move that I move that we approve the request of Thomas Pye as Chairman of the Board of Health to designate the Stormwater Committee a subcommittee of the Board of Health.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. That was easy.
I want to thank all the members on that committee for your hard work. I appreciate it very much, and the town will benefit greatly from it.
Okay, the next order of business is to award a carpet bid for the old town hall. And what we have here is something from James Aguirre, our building official, and he has 4 bids. Well, he requested 4 bids. He requested from Home Depot, and he did not get a response as of now. He requested from George J. Perry Rug Company in Taunton a quote of $6,665 and no cents. He requested a quote from Joe's Carpet in Fall River, and they can't do it until March, which is beyond the time frame we need. And then Chav's Flooring in Taunton, and they quoted $6,910.49. So, looking at that, the low bidder would be the George J. Perry Rug Company in Taunton at $6,665.00.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we award the contract to provide and install carpet at the Old Town Hall to George J. Perry Rug Company of Taunton. The bid price of $6,665.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Before we move on, Mr. Chairman.
We keep saying the Old Town Hall. We're talking about the old Grange Hall over here, which was the Old Town Hall. I think we'll have to come up with some
We
name.
need to name it.
No, the name is Old Town Hall. They have a sign already.
They found a sign in the attic.
Okay.
They restored it.
Okay.
So
And it says
it's
Old Town
been
Hall.
named. We don't even need to worry about it. It's already been
Okay, well,
taken
as long as
care
we all
of.
know what we're talking about. I want to make sure the public knows what we're talking about as well, so.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention is I recently, and I believe Town Administrator Aaronstein, Selectman Chairman Taylor as well, I went into the downstairs of Old Town Hall. It looks amazing. I really, truly think that the public is going to be very pleased with how their tax dollars were very fiscally spent on this project, conservatively. And I think they've done their best inside to use elements of the original structure, such as beams that they restored, to be part of the conference room. So I think we're all going to be very proud with the finished product, which should be done shortly. So.
Did you go upstairs? Did you see the meeting room?
I did go upstairs as well. That is also going to be a prized gem, hopefully to be used as a community space for residents of Dayton. So, like I said, I think the color palette, which we chose probably a year ago now,
Yeah, well over a year ago.
it's going to look very, very
I
nice.
would have
And
looked at it too.
You
I've
bet.
got a series of pictures that I've taken over a period of time.
I was told you had the before pictures.
Yeah.
I'm
It
dying.
was-
I
it
want
was
to
a
see
do a
what,
side by
yeah, I'd like to
side.
see
There was,
what it was
if you
before.
think about a cafeteria kitchen, a stainless steel kitchen with serving and all that, that's what was down there.
Oh, yeah, it was. Yep.
Yeah, it was a commercial
I remember
kitchen.
when we went in there before anything was done.
The colors better be okay, that's all I gotta say, because I
Yeah,
didn't
no,
have
that's the
any
best
involvement in
part. Believe me.
it. Well, it did. Mr. Morgan?
Is there a tentative date for the ribbon?
We're thinking 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh, not for the official grand
I mean, the-
opening.
No, just when we move over there.
I mean, when you,
We're gonna move over.
Yeah.
I think what the chairman's saying is we would wait to do the ribbon cutting till the upstairs was also done and ready
It'll
for.
be ready for occupancy in
Yep.
2 to 3.
and the upstairs is open to
Yes.
Bruce, perhaps reserved space.
Will be.
I mean, I don't know.
The upstairs won't be complete in 2 or 3 weeks. That'll be a little bit longer.
That'll
I
take-
think a
yeah.
little more work.
It's nice meeting space.
I heard there was some nice glass work or something.
Yep.
They restored the floor, which is also,
Thank
you're
you.
gonna really like it.
Okay, the next item, we have a letter here from Mr. Tom Medeiros, who's on our fire department. And dear Mr. Chairman Taylor, I regret to inform you that I will be stepping down as Equal Employment Officer effective immediately. Due to unforeseen personal problems, I am no longer able to fulfill the responsibilities of my role. I feel it is in the best interest of the town of Dayton that I vacate these positions, so.
What's the other one?
I have some background on this. So he had approached me because he was also going to vacate the ADA committee position that he was on. And he brought in a gentleman that he would recommend to fill the role that he's resigning from here, the equal employment officer. But that gentleman asked if Tom Maderas would stay on the ADA committee with him, and he agreed. So I have a feeling this might have been written
Probably.
beforehand.
Just need to change it.
But I met that gentleman. He seems wonderful and a wealth of knowledge and will really help us immensely in ADA compliance
So
and
when
what
are
we
we
can
gonna
get
appoint
done.
him?
So.
Next week?
I'm waiting for his, that form that
Okay.
they have to sign.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the resignation of Thomas Maderas as equal employment equal employment office, I think it's EEO, and with thanks and appreciation for his service.
Second.
Okay, I just want to say, we thank you, Tom, for, I know you've done this for quite some time, and we really appreciate your contribution in what you've done in this area. So another example of town employees stepping up to do stuff that need to be done. So again, thank you, Tom.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Tom.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Tom inherited these when I could no longer serve on them, because what happened was, quite frankly, I had such a list that when I checked with the Ethics Commission, I said, you know what? These two I can give up without causing major problems. So Tom stepped up and,
He still has the documents you gave him, because he
Is
gave
that
them to
right?
me. He gave them to me. So I have them for the next individual.
Next item of business is the disposal of unused equipment by the fire chief. And again, I have a letter here from Christopher McGee, the chief of the fire department. I'm requesting authorization to dispose of one Furno stretcher model 35A with a serial number L201736. This item is over 20 years old and has not been used for over 5 years. The stretcher will be sold with the best interests of the town in mind. And they just got a new power stretcher to put in ambulance 1, which is really beautiful. It's amazing. So, anyway.
Do we need to act on that?
Declare it as
Mr.
surplus.
Chairman, I move that we approve the request to dispose of the Furno stretcher as described in the letter, with the understanding that this be submitted to the Finance Committee for final approval before sale.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. I just wanted to say, I was on Facebook the other day, and I went to the Dayton Fire Department's Facebook page, and they actually had, it was almost like a tutorial. It was a video shot of one of the fire department members using and loading the power stretcher, the new power stretcher that was approved at the special town meeting in October, into the back of A1, and it was just phenomenal. I mean, it did its own thing, and nobody's, injuring their backs over these
It'll actually
stretchers anymore. It's just,
Liability it saves is great.
It'll actually lift over 700 pounds without any effort on part of the EMTs, which is, that's a common cause of back issues with EMTs
I
putting
was
those
in
stretchers.
Howard. Is it electric?
I want to go down and see it.
It's in
then.
the
It's like-
ambulance. It's like built into the ambulance, so
Oh,
whatever
so it's-
power is coming from the vehicle.
Okay.
But they take it like in and out, though.
Yeah,
Oh, wait a
Like,
minute,
he
maybe
loaded
not.
it
So I wonder
in.
if it's charged through there. like-
they take it, they take it out, and then when they put it back in,
Have you used one of these?
I've seen them.
he says you line it up, and
Yeah.
They're fantastic. I'm from the old days, we didn't have that. But that was, you used to pick a guy on each side, or man, woman, whoever's working, and just pick them up and put them in, if you were lucky enough to have somebody on the end of it. But you're right about that, Jack, that does prevent back.
yes, absolutely. So.
Money well spent, I think we all agree. Fantastic.
The next item we have on here is town hall hours, and this issue came up last year, and I didn't think before I was a selectman it came up. But
No,
anyway.
it wasn't last year, it was the previous
Previous year.
Oh, it
Thanksgiving.
definitely
So
was
what-
before you joined.
16.
So what we said we would do is two things. Number one is we would look at, the issue is that should we be open on Friday morning? And so we we had departments keep track of who came in before 7:30, between 7:30 and 8, and between 4 and 4:30. Because if we were to open on Saturday, those hours would have to be given up so we can staff it not Saturday, Friday. So we did all of that, and there is quite a few people that come in on, during those times. But before we make our final decision, we said we would get back and listen to any more public input on that issue. So if you're watching and you want to give us some input on that or what your feelings are about it, we welcome that, and I would send probably...
Yeah, they can send to me, maronstein@townofdighton.com.
Or if you can't do that, just send it to Selectmen
Yeah,
at
so,
Town of Dayton.
probably easier to spell.
Board of Selectmen.
At townofdighton.com.
Yeah. Okay, so, and we'll,
So you'll just take this under advisement?
until,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we take research of town hall hours under advisement until a future meeting.
Second.
okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Thanks. Okay, we have a resignation. This is to board members from Rosalind Grassi, the office manager, formerly the office manager of Zoning Board of Appeals and the Board of Health. It's with immense regret that I'm writing to you today, effective Thursday, February 1st at midnight. I'm resigning from the Zoning Board of Appeals. I've been appointed to a new position within the town, working for the Board of Health. However, I will be happy to help the board and your new assistant in any way I can. I've enjoyed working with you in all of the past 6.5 years. I look forward to working with you in the future. Yeah, she's not resigning from the town, she's just resigning from the Zoning Board of Appeals because we've hired another person. We split those positions and hired someone else.
Mr. Chairman, I vote to accept the resignation. Move, excuse me. It's been a long day.
And who's that clerk?
I'm signing the
Sorry,
important
Brett.
documents. I make a motion that we accept the resignation of Rosalind Grassi from the Zoning Board of Appeals with thanks and appreciation.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 And I just wanted to say, Roz, if you're watching, it was a pleasure getting my feet wet with you as our clerk at the time of the Zoning Board of Appeals. It's been an honor to work with you, and I do look forward to continuing to work with you in your new role as the office manager of the Board of Health. So congratulations, Roz, and thank you for everything.
Yeah, thank you very much, Rosalind. You did a great job down there. Okay, the next thing we have appointments to committees. And we have 3 that we want to discuss. Ken Pacheco to the Historical Commission, Anton Roderick Sr. to the Open Space Committee, and Jessica Daly to the Open Space Committee. And what I would like to suggest we do, I've always wondered, when I got to town, I look at who's on these committees and say, how do we decide who gets on the committee? And so, rather than us just making the appointment here, I think what I would like to do is send these to the various committees, have them do whatever they want, interview, talk to the applicants, and then make a recommendation back to us. So they make sure they're getting someone that is, appropriate for the
And
committee.
I'm absolutely fine with that, and the reason is because we do a similar process to that when we appoint positions like office manager.
Yeah, right.
For example, we allow, like when we're going to hire a Board of Health office manager, we allow the Board of Health, do their interviews, do their thing, make the recommendation to the Board of Selectmen. I'm absolutely okay with that. What I will say is, if we're gonna do it now, this would be the precedent, and we should continue
Absolutely.
it going forward.
Absolutely. I think
Okay.
that's the way we
I'm
should
fine with
approach
that.
it.
Do we have 2 openings on the Open Space Committee?
That was my other, I thought we only had one.
I think they have 2.
Okay. I've
I'm not
lost track.
sure,
There was-
I don't-
but
I'm not
that, I
sure
guess,
that-
is even more reason to send it to them, because if there's only
Correct.
one, they
Right.
can vote on
Right.
the one.
Yeah.
What I will
I'll do
say
that.
is I thought on the website, they have at least 6 or 7
Yeah,
already,
I
so
think
we'll
this-
send it to them.
I don't think I'm not sure it's limited on the open space.
No, just like the Green Communities
Right.
Grant Committee
There's
is
no
not an
limit.
actual committee that was created by some statute or state general law. It's just, it can actually be
Right.
whatever you want it to be, because it's
So I would
not a state thing.
entertain a motion to
Send these applications to the respective committees,
Yep.
commissions. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we send the 3 mentioned applications to their respective committees for review and they will send us a final recommendation, and
Second.
we will act on it.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion?
Yeah, I just want to say that I hope if we have two open spaces, open space committee slots, this might fill the committee, or at least, and I'm looking at the names here, and I think all of these people would fit well in the committees that they've volunteered to serve on.
Absolutely.
So we'll leave that to the committee to give us a recommendation, just so.
Mr. Berkeley?
Okay.
Do you like a letter of interest, just an example, or with a resume, or just want a letter? Like if someone's applying?
No, this is
Just the form is
this is a
fine?
this is a volunteer form.
Yeah.
Very simple.
And just to answer that question, or elaborate a little further.
It's 2 pages, but it's not lengthy.
Yeah, I just wondered, I saw something that was mentioned about submit a letter.
When you do it online, we have a similar form electronically to volunteer. That we do ask that you send a resume simply because the form doesn't allow you to kind of enter and answer all these questions that are on the paper form. So.
And one other thing, if I could, if I may, and I, probably the town administrator would ask to make sure it's official. We have a vacancy on the industrial.
Oh,
Is that right?
No, she has not, we haven't seen anything, so you've never accepted the resignation.
No.
I apologize. We actually did get
Oh,
an
sorry.
email. No, it's okay. But the reason you don't know about it is because it comes to the Board of Selectmen general email box. So unless somebody specifically forwarded it to you, that's probably why. And it just came in after, I believe,
We
the agenda
posted.
was already set. So we couldn't act on that. I apologize, Mr. Berkeley.
So, yes, next meeting, it'll be on there, and we'll accept her resignation and send her a letter of thanks for her service.
Absolutely.
Okay, do we have any correspondence?
We were supposed to have some.
Oh, you got to call the vote. We had discussion, but you got to
Oh,
call
I'm
the
sorry.
vote.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Do we have any correspondence?
Just that flyer from the Morton
Yeah, we'll
Hospital
get to
flyer.
that. Yeah,
Okay.
I want to talk about that at the end, I think. Announcements.
Do you mind if I read them, Mr.
Yeah, I
Chairman?
gotta go get something off my desk,
No
so.
problem.
Okay, when you get to the food bank, it's 8 a.m. according to the sign.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not
Yep.
8:30.
Just so you know, Selectman Goulart, it is correct on our town website calendar.
Okay, I just noticed it again out there when I was
Thank you.
driving by.
We're gonna split these up if that's okay, Selectman Goulart. Trash bags, sharps disposal containers, and recycling stickers are all for sale at the Board of Selectmen's office. Please call 508-669-6431 for more information. There are vacancies on the Land Use Committee, Capital Outlay Committee, and the, soon-to-be, there will be a vacancy on the Development and Industrial Commission. So if you're interested, you can either fill out the form here in the office, you can do it online, or you can just email the Board of Selectmen at townofdighton.com. Dog licenses are available. Massachusetts general law requires that all dogs 6 months of age or older be licensed. Applications were included with your census, and the town clerk has been gracious enough to also upload the 2018 application to the town clerk's webpage. That's it for me, Selectman Goulart.
You done?
Yep.
STEAMposium, STEAM, stands for Learning and Careers in the Fields of Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, and Mathematics. Dayton-Rehoboth Regional High School is hosting an exciting, free family event on Saturday, April 7th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Dayton-Rehoboth Regional High School. Senator Mark Pacheco, our representative, will be at the Dayton Council on Aging, 300 Lincoln Avenue, North Dayton, on Tuesday, February 20th, from 1 to 2 p.m. Call 508-823-0095 to make an appointment. The Dayton Lions Community Food Bank will be held on February 24th at 8 a.m., and that goes from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Tax forms are now available at the library. Election information, see next page. I don't
Yeah,
have a
I
next
have
page.
it.
You
No,
got it? Okay.
I'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess now's a good time. I think everybody's probably heard about the issues at Morton Hospital. You know, they plan on closing the maternity ward. And unless others disagree, I don't think we want to take an official position on it, but I want to make you aware that there is a meeting with the Department of Public Health, a public hearing specific to the closure of maternity unit at Morton Hospital. And the purpose of the public meeting is to provide community members with an opportunity to voice their concerns over Stewart's plan to eliminate Morton's maternity services. So, the meeting is on Friday, February 16th at 4 p.m. at the Holiday Inn, Taunton, Foxborough area, 700 Miles Standish Road, Miles Standish Boulevard in Taunton. That's right in the industrial park. Okay, and,
Did you read the date and time? I'm sorry, Mr.
yeah, I
Chair.
just did. Pay attention.
I'm trying. Your voice makes
The
me
date
go
is
off into space.
Friday, February 16th, 4 p.m. at the Holiday Inn in Taunton at 700 Miles Standish Boulevard. We'll have a copy in the office here. Please call Sherman Loans, Assistant Director of DPH's Office of Regulatory Affairs at 617-753-8160 because he has a say in the decision.
Good to know.
So, okay?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I have I think Senator Pacheco is very involved with that.
Both the,
I'm sure he will be there. Before we move on, I just wanted to say, if you want to receive these announcements via email, if you're sitting at home while we do these announcements furiously writing, you don't need to. You can click the subscribe to news button on the Town of Dayton website. We send these out weekly, so you can get them in your mailbox. You don't need to write anything. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The next thing is election information, and we've done it several times, I'll do it one more time. Nomination papers for the upcoming election are available in the town's clerk's office. The last day to obtain papers is 5 p.m. on Thursday, February 15th, which is just next week. And the deadline to return nomination papers to the town clerk's office is 5 p.m. on Tuesday, February 20th. So if you're interested in running for any of these positions I'm about to read, make note of those dates. You need, and by the way, you need 24 signatures, which is 1% of the total voters who voted at in the governor's, the last governor's state election. Assessor for a 3-year term. Dayton Rehoboth Regional School Committee member, 3-year term. Another Dayton Rehoboth Regional School Committee member, 3-year term. Housing Authority, 5-year term. Park and Rec, 3-year term. Planning Board, 5-year term. The Public Library Trustee is 3 years. Selectmen, 3 years. Sewer Commissioner, 3 years. And Town Moderator, 1 year. And the Tree Warden, 3 years. I was told today, all the incumbents in these positions have turned in papers for re-election, but if you want to get into that, you can, with the exception of the Sewer Commission, and no one has taken papers or returned them. Mr. William Mendoza is not going to run again, and he's on that commission. So if anybody's interested in any of these, but in particular the Sewer Commission, there's a vacancy there. He's not going to run for re-election. So, okay.
So there was one more announcement. The library has
Yeah.
tax forms.
No
Oh, I'm sorry. We said it. I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay. They do it
Don't have no file.
Just wanted to make sure it was.
What are you fumbling around for?
Looking at the agenda. There you go.
Selectmen's report is next. Do you have a report prepared, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, I do. So it's like in the report. I just want to give an update. I'm an ad hoc member of the Dayton School Building Committee, School Study Building Committee. And we've been looking at the needs for space at both the middle school and the elementary school. And they have a definite need for more space. So we met, I think 6 or 7 times now. We had a meeting just before this meeting. We're trying to finalize our recommendations, which will go to the superintendent and also the school committee. It's not a decision of the Board of Selectmen. It's really a decision of the school committee and what they're going to recommend. So more to follow as we get more information about that. Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I attended the Rehoboth Selectmen's meeting Monday night, only to advise them that we're working on the MS4 stormwater report and also on our filing our application. and asked if the Rehoboth Stormwater designee would be willing to work with us because we're going to be part of that STEAM exposition at Dayton Rehoboth. And I did get positive feedback. The representative, or I'll call him the stormwater manager in Rehoboth, is actually Dave Perry, who is a member of the Board of Selectmen. So we'll be working on that together. And just a reminder that tomorrow night at 6 o'clock at Bristol Aggie, Keith Hall, the advisory board, county advisory board will again vote on the bond issue for the new construction and renovation project. It turns out that we didn't have a quorum because the gentleman that came from Freetown was not an elected official. And so only elected officials from towns and cities can attend and actually vote. But the meeting is open to the public, so if anyone's interested, it's the Keith Hall, which is what we used to call the dormitory.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any acknowledgements today? Okay. And approval of minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the regular meeting of January 17th, 2018.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Approval of warrants.
Do you have the warrant numbers?
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have one.
They're on
Just
the-
grab the
We grabbed
blue
it.
folder, because I can get it off of that, please.
I will let you guys take one guess whose desk these went to die on.
Yeah, because you didn't put them back on my desk until I was in the meeting.
No, I still have one. Yeah.
I thought the regional assessment was going to be in here. I thought I was going to see one for a million gazillion, and I looked at it and said, oh, it's not.
That's good.
Mr. Chairman, I move that warrant 32A-18 in the amount of $91,346.54 payroll, and warrant number 32B-18 in the amount of $380,026.23 accounts payable be approved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Any more public input? Hearing none? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We are adjourned.
Thank you, Cable.